We're going to start off this project by making 6 1-inch boxes, and I'll show you how to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's what it's about to look like. So I want your 6-inch long 1-inch boxes to be in the upper corner of your left-hand side of your paper. So this is what we're about to do. I'm going to take my ruler, put it on the upper left-hand side of my paper. I'm going to find the 0. Let me make sure it's in the shot. I'm going to find the 0, make a mark, draw a line. I get to the number 1, I make a little mark, draw a line. Number 2, mark line. 3, mark line. 4, mark line. 5, mark line. Then 6. Then I'm going to make it 1 inch wide. So I come here and I make a little line at the 1 inch mark. Now I'm going to put this back at the 0 and I'm going to trace back upward. Here, make a mark at the 1. Here, make a mark at the 2. Make a mark at the 3, the 4, the 5, and the 6. Now that I have all my marks, these little dots, I can very easily take my ruler, turn it back sideways, draw a line, and connect all of the middle dots together. We're going to do this several more times, and I'll show you what the finished product of the paper is going to look like. But go ahead and do this in the top. Leave some space up here because we're going to write a word. Do this in the top left side of your paper. I'm going to start by leaving this box completely white because that's the color white. I want to come down here to the bottom now and make this box the absolute darkest black that I could possibly make it. Go ahead and make this bottom box on the left-hand side the darkest black. And I'm still using my small circles. We're either choose your sweeps or your small circles. We're going to try to make this bottom box the darkest black possible. So now I want to go in the very middle square. 1, 2, 3. This is in the middle, in between here and in between here, somewhat. Let's go let's go into the third one down, okay? I want to decide, how do I make it to where, what shade of black is perfectly in between this dark black and this white? I'm going to create kind of a medium black color. We're learning the differences between dark black, gray, which also is called like a medium type of black. I'm going to come in and I'm not going to push my hand down real dark. I'm going to create kind of this medium black right in the middle. I'm doing my nice small circles, going back over areas, trying to even it out. My small circles. Fill up that box. You're going to end up making your 6 boxes have 6 different values. Professional artists have lots of different values going on. They don't just make everything the same shade of black. There's different shades of black throughout their work. So we are going to test using a lot of pressure, no pressure, tiny bit of pressure, a little bit more, even more, and then the most pressure here. Yours is going to look like this. I'll show you how to do it. Now let's create a black that's lighter than this one, but darker than this one. Let's do it in the box above the really dark black. Let's still make it dark, but nowhere as dark as this one, because that one's supposed to be our darkest one possible. I'm doing my small circles. I'm having a little bit of pressure, you know, going on my pencil. Actually, I'm actually doing sweeps now that I'm thinking of it. I'm more so doing sweeps on this one than small circles, but I'm staying in the same direction and I'm going back over areas. Because I actually want this to be pretty dark, but not as dark as the very, very bottom one. I'm going to do some small circles over this sweep to make it even darker. Because now I have to invent a shade that's in between this one and this one. So I want to try to make this one look a little bit different. So now I'm doing some heavier sweeps to make it a bit darker. Now I need to choose a shade that's perfectly in between this one and this one. It's better to start off too light than too dark, you know? So I'm doing my small circles and I'm going to end up with a shade that's perfectly in between the one above it and the one below it. Now you're going to practice making a color very, very light, somewhat light, full color, coloring your hardest with a color, coloring your hardest with a color and adding a little bit of black, coloring your hardest with this color and adding more black, coloring your hardest with this color and adding the most black as you can. White to red to black, okay? We're going to color with the very lightest pressure possible with our red. The smallest circles, I am barely putting any pressure down. We're going to color this box in very lightly. This is a light red. Using colored pencils doesn't always mean pushing everything down and making everything really dark. No, it's not all about that. Professional artists don't do that. Sometimes some area needs light reds. So I'm coming through here and I'm making a very, very light red. Down here, I'm going to push my hardest for this box down here. I know we left this box blank here. In this box, you're right, we're putting color in it and it's very light. And then down here, I'm pushing my hardest. I'm not being messy. I'm still doing my small circles and sweeps. Fill up this whole box. Now I'm going to take the black and push into this to make a very dark red. And I'm going to push pretty decently hard and blend to make a dark red. Now I'm going to fill this one up with red again, except I'm gonna do like I did over here and use less pressure. It's still gonna turn out being a dark red, but it's not gonna be as dark as this one, okay? So we're redoing what we did here, except with a color, to show that sometimes you need light colors and sometimes you need to make the color darker for a certain shadow type of effect. Sometimes I'm going back and forth and I'm making this box even darker. So that's what I did when I turned off the camera. And sometimes I pick up the red over again and I go back and forth with the red and the black because I want this to be a dark red but not as dark as this one. On this one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to color all red and then I'm going to like barely use any black. So on square number 1, 2, 3, 4, I made it all red and then I barely used any black. Incredibly light circles. Square number 1, 2, 3, I'm just going to do straight up red. Straight up red, you can push nice and hard on this one. Straight up red. And then on this last one, we're going to choose what's the color, how much pressure do I need to put to make it darker than this one, but lighter than this. And that's how we're going to finish this up. It's going to be darker than this one, but lighter than this one. Let's finish this one up first. You're about to do blue to purple, which is very similar to white to red to black. You're going to have a very light blue, a little bit more pressure, even more pressure, and then the most pressure possible for blue on these last three, and then have the lightest pressure of purple to go on top, a medium pressure of purple, and the hardest pressure of purple to go on top. And this is us blending colors and showing a variety. You're going to use your sky blue or your light blue. I know in your pack of 24 you might have several different ones. Use the lightest blue that you have, and you're going to make your small circles, and you're going to make it really light in this top box. Small little circles. Make it as light as you made this one, except with the color blue. Go ahead and do that. Now skip this box, go to the third box, and do a heavy blue. Now I'm doing some heavy, small circles. And you can do heavy sweeps if you want, just make sure you choose a particular direction and stick with that direction if you're doing sweeps. Fill this whole box up with a pretty dark, a lot of pressure blue. Now I'm going to choose a pressure that's in between these two pressures. So I have like a medium pressure because I want this to be light, medium, and really intense. So I'm going to choose a medium pressure that can go in between these two blocks. And I might have to go back over areas to make it a little darker, and that's fine. I like to use small circles, so that's what I'm doing. I see that these boxes are looking a lot alike, so I'm going to make this box darker by going back over it some more. But I'm not going to go over it so much to where it's as dark as this one. There, light, medium, more intense. We're gonna do just like what we did over here, except instead of red and black, we're gonna do blue and purple. So do another really intense blue in this box down here, and then we're gonna go over it with a very light touch of purple to see what happens. Here's where I'm gonna apply my light purple. I'm just barely putting any pressure on this. And I'm doing my small circles. And already I can tell that this whole box is kind of changing color a bit. This is how we blend. It might not be showing up on the camera too much, but that's okay. I'm going to color these two boxes the darkest blue as I can, and I'll do an even darker purple on top, and then I'll do the darkest of the dark purple down here. Now I'm doing an even darker purple pressure on this box. If your hand hurts, then that means you're doing it right. Guess what? My hand kind of hurts too. If you're getting a cramp right here, that's normal. If you do get cramps in your hands, don't get impatient and start coloring crazy. If you do get cramps in your hands, then just stop and just chill until it goes away, and then go back and continue. A temporary cramp in your hand shouldn't ruin your artwork. So I'm going a bit darker with my purple, because I want to make this box even darker than the one above it. So you can slowly see how things are changing. Whenever we start making art and coloring it, I want you to have all kinds of varieties of colors, not just the stuff that comes out of the box. Show a variety of blue. Show the blue slowly mixing into the purples. Now, last but not least, I'm going to push the hardest as I can for this last box in blue, and the hardest that I can in this box in purple. In this last one, you choose whatever two colors you want. I wanted to experiment with what would happen if I did the lightest yellows to the most intense yellows, and then adding light pink, medium pink, and a lot of pressure of pink on top of the most intense yellows. You choose whatever two colors you want to put into the blanks and do the lightest, medium, and most intense, and then the most intense of this color with a light amount of pressure of this color, the most intense of this color with a medium pressure of this color, and then the most intense of both colors here. Whatever two colors you want.